So, I've put a ring around this before and it works okay. Anyway, that's what we're looking at for today. Some of these things are harder, and if you use a Boolean, you can try that too. We could just take this right here, this original one, collapse it down to that, come in here and do another. Actually, before I do that, let me dupe it. Always dupe it. We can come in here and do another cylinder that sits right underneath it, like this, and then do Alt X, take a look at it, grab it, pull it up, top, and I know this should be set to 50, no, 40, no, that was 50, this may be 25, 30, 35, bam, winner. Okay, so I'll take that one right there and use this tool we've talked about before, align, and just click on it and align to the XYZ position. I don't care if it's sunk. I just want it centered on the center of it. So I'll come up here and do this. Okay. Grab this one, Alt X. Collapse my turbo smooth. My biggest problem with using this is the amount of cleanup you're gonna have to do, because we won't get a soft edge. Maybe that's better. Maybe that's a better choice. I'm totally open to it, but let's just use Boolean. Let me grab this one. Make sure I'm grabbing the right one. Okay. Pro Boolean, start picking, grab it. And now I've got this hole. Actually, I probably need to do one more thing before I do that. Is divide this a few more times here. Not that way. This part doesn't even matter either. It's this one. There we go. So back to this, back to the creation menu, Pro Boolean, start picking, bam. And if we don't look at this, you can see that it's there. The only problem, like I said before, well, one of the problems I said before is that we lose this chance to bevel our edge. But even when I do it this way, let me see something. Collapse to an editable poly. One thing that drives me crazy is look, it emptied out all those. But whatever. So target welds, just could be happening that, see all those extra little verts. Oh my gosh, they're so insane. I'm trying to get rid of this first. We can just backspace those. That one's fine. I'm more worried about these edges. And then as soon as I turbo smooth it, we lose it too. That's another point. Turbo smooth, wonk. So if I don't want to turbo smooth it, then if I can find a way to do it without turbo smoothing it, then it's viable, I suppose. But I'm only going to do this really quick and probably speed this up in the video just to test it. I always get curious about trying things, and unfortunately you get to see me think it through. Okay, so now I got to get rid of all these stupid edges and verts, I mean. about that. You won't even hear it. Sorry, these things drive me crazy. Wow, look at that. That was a nice one. I don't care about the interior stuff at this point. It's kind of moot, as it were. Okay, I'm gonna grab. That's funny. Delete. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll grab this edge here, shift and drag it down just so we have something there. And then, yeah, this is actually, maybe I could do it this way. Yeah, see, this is the crazy stuff. Did I leave? Oh, it's this thing. I missed a couple, maybe. What are you doing? What? The heck, it's like it didn't do it. Must have missed some edge. Okay, so let me try this again. That's interesting. Okay. There. Oh, that was a mistake. Interesting. Okay. Oops. Okay, piece resistance. Hide this and do turbo smooth. Hello, freak. What the crap? I mean, that was weird. Wow. Alright, let's ignore that other part and see how this looks. Oh, I didn't do this. 2. Just do it this way. I'm going to ignore this weird stuff. Okay, so that looks pretty dang good. I'm not extremely hating it, so maybe that's a better way to go in general, but then we have this other weird stuff going on. So what the crap, right? Well, I don't know, but we'll just see if it's something like... like that. Okay. Let's see if it still does it, because if it still does it, then that's... Okay, so that's... I'm not hating it. Okay, so all we need to do is take that outer edge, and I think there's one more... Delete. Okay. And then do our scale move. Scale it out. And then pull it up. Maybe scale it out a little bit more, just to give a little bit of a slant on it. And then scale it out. And there we go. I'm not hating it. It's definitely better than the pinchy stuff you have over here. So I will take the pinchy stuff if you guys come up with it. That is extra credit. Coming home and doing that is extra credit. But that looks much better. This needs to be... there. Okay, so now you've got that. Now let's talk about the last part of this, the homework stuff. So you're going to make a few of these, and I'm going to give you the pictures of what you're going to make. Top Z. And then you're going to unhide all. Use these that you make. Oh, you suck. Okay. And make these pieces here. Now, if we look at what we have, and I look at this real quick, it's I'm going to say to object. This is really the only thing that I've made out of that individually. There's no craziness to this at all. It's all these other things that make a difference. So, like, this right here probably should have been smooth or, you know, whatever. But these are all just add-ons. They sit right on top of it, and it gives it all this life and stuff. So what you get to do is figure out how you want to do simple cuts or whatever. You can do grates. You can do other things, too. I don't like this one after all. I like this this bad boy right here. We're going to call him bad. Like that. So, you know, for me, what I would do is I'd take like one or two of these. Cancel. Let's just do these. And one of the things you've got to do is you're not going to work on the main grid behind it. You're going to work on the grid above it. You want to keep this the same. And what this was a 10, or it's, let me see what this actually ended up being. Hold on. Let me convert, reset Xform on it and then check it again. So it's almost 20. I need to redo it. I would just do a 10 by 10 meter piece. It doesn't really matter the size as long as everything lines up when you put it in. It doesn't matter. But you need a square. Okay. The textures are going to come out the same size. It doesn't matter if you do it weird numbers or not. I know we talk about power of 2, but the power of 2 is about the texture, not about the geometry that we're using to fake it. So we could do something like pull this up and then say divide both these pieces. Maybe do it with the connect, because connect will give us even, and maybe do it twice like that, and then pull them back down, and then maybe take this piece and chamfer it. I don't want you to have 8 pieces, but I don't want you to have a minimum of, because you're going to do it, sorry, my gardener's here, but since you're going to do it a minimum of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, or 5 of them, leave 3 for your extra pieces. Since you're going to do a minimum of 5 of them, 5 boxes, I at least want you to do 4 different pieces here. And I know this is a short order and a lot of work for the first time you've done it, but you can do it. I have nothing but faith. So I'm going to lift this up a little bit, and then I'm going to take this one and start figuring out if I want to do a channel down the middle of this. Like here, I'll go to 2, I'll grab this, I'll go that, and I'll take an extrude. Oh, that's not what I meant. Cancel. I'll do a R connect, and we'll still do 2, and then we'll take this one and go R, or we'll take 4 and go click shift and grab that edge, and then we'll extrude it or bevel it, but we'll bevel it down more, so we've got something like that, and then maybe bevel it in so we get something, a nice channel down the middle of it. And let's say we want this edge, these edges to have extra extrusions or maybe even channels on them. We can go connect, extrude, did it again. We can go connect, let's do one connect though. Connect, just one, okay. And with those selected, we can say extrude, like I've been thinking about doing. And we can pull this. Don't need to go too far, but we can make them a little bit wider. Come on. 7, 8. Okay, so we'll do 8 and then do that, and then maybe we want to divide this up, so we'll double click on this and double click on this, and this time we'll do a bigger one, so we'll make it wider. And we definitely are running into overlapping things, and that's fine as long as we clean it up. Let me see. Let's do this. Okay, actually, let's do what we had before here. I'll pull this out, something like that. and say okay. And then if I want this deeper in this case, I'll just drag it down like that, and we can pull it back up out of the ground here. But what I want to do is chamfer this edge here so I get a little bit more width to that channel that I made there, something like that. Okay, and then I'll lift it up a little bit so it's not clipping. Okay, so now I've got that. And I've got these pieces here. Now the question is, do I want to keep those? And they're still probably, let's see, too low, so we'll pull them up a little bit higher. Okay. And then we're going to come in and take some of these things that we've made and go over and put it here. And, you know, put stuff like that. Maybe we want to rotate it and stuff. What we could do is maybe take this edge and drag it down so it's even like that. Probably do this one too. And let's say we want a ridge right here. What do? Well, we can take this face and this face and we can drag it up a little bit. Keep it as the same object, that's fine at this point. We can move it over and we can do a Z, which I set to shortcut 6, and then we can divide it to like this, and we can say connect like that, and then we can grab these two edges and drag them down. And then we can take this one too and drag it down. And I know it's crazy. I told you to not do this, but I'm telling you it's okay now. Clipping and all that crap. Okay, let's say we don't obviously want it to be just empty on one side. We do want to try and close off some of these pieces. So let me figure out how best to do this. Maybe I'll just do it this way. Shift, move tool, drag it down. There we go. And let's say I want this to be a little bit more chamfered. So I'll take this, I'll give that edge right there, like that. Okay, and maybe looking at this, I want this to have, I mean, I'm just playing around here. So there's no right or wrong way to do this at this point. Especially not your first time out. We're just trying to find forms and stuff, and there's a real conversation on that, but we don't have the time or the class time for that at this point. Maybe we'll get into it as we get further along, but that's a lot of talk about that. And let's say, okay, now I like this, and I really want this to have divisions in it, though. I don't want it to just be fat things sitting on there like that. So I just want to do connect on it, and then I'm going to do, let's say, this many connect. This is kind of how I did this in here, okay? So I'm going to grab that and say, yeah, that's probably enough for this piece. And then I'm going to take I'm going to take this and try some tests on it and see if I extrude it, what's going to happen. And if I extrude it negative, I mean. And then, no. What if I bevel? I always like bevel because it gives you more of the stuff. So if I do that, and then I take this, oh, come on. How does that look? Do I want to make it go higher? Yeah, maybe like that. And then I can just grab these pieces and these pieces. Oops. Like that. Hopefully it works out. And it didn't because I didn't count right. How to do this? So there's 4 on each side. So I will deselect these edges and do this one. Oh, come on. Q. What we'll do is I have a thicker one in the middle. So I've got that. I'll say okay, and then maybe I want an extra ridge in here somewhere, who knows. But now I've got, without too much crazy work, all that stuff set up. Now I can take like some of these pieces and say, I really want this to be ridged with my new nut thing. So I'm going to pull it over, go to the front view, make sure it's kind of level. Then actually I should have copied it over. It's really big because we're just working that way. And we're going to scale it. Probably one of the things you might want to do as you go through these is just collapse this piece here. Hey, come on. Jeez, fingers don't listen to me sometimes. Effect pivot point, center on object. Okay, and then come back out. And then we're going to scale these like this. I'll show you another trick in a second, but hello, big guy. Let's get you back over here. Okay. So go to the top, look at it, figure out where we want this to be. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what you're looking at. Okay. Top, Z, take a look at it. I'm going to put it in the middle here. Just say that's where all the nuts are going to be. We're going to center it on this edge, and we're going to drag it down a little bit so we can see a little bit better where it is. Up at the top. Okay. It's a little bit cutting in there. Probably don't want that. Oh. I guess I don't have that. Oh, there it is. It's just deeper than I thought. Probably doesn't need to be that deep, but there. Okay. Top Z, make sure it's lined up in the center, and I'll show you a trick. We're going to go look at this and say, move. Let's do it that much. And then we're going to add the number of copies to 10 and see what we get. Oh, that's almost it. So we'll do it again. Move it this much, and we'll make it 11. I guess I didn't move this far this time, so I should probably pay attention. If I'm right here lined up, let's line it up with the top of this, even. And we'll drag it to the center of that one. How's that? And we'll change it to 11 and see if that works. Nope, it was further. So again, it's a little bit of a dance, but it's not horrible. So we'll take this. Oh. We're going to try 8. Okay, and then at some points you just like screw it. But if I done it correctly, actually, let me do it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let me show you. I'm going to do this and drag it from here to the next one. And some of you may be thinking ahead about this. That's totally fine. I'm going to go 10. Not 110, because that would be a lot. 10. And say OK. Okay. Now, they don't match. What's going on? Well, I had a double one in here. So I should, in theory, just be able to grab these 5. I think that's 6, actually. Oh, it's 10 plus 1. Okay. That was part of my problem. Let me try this one more time. Shift drag to the center of this one and say 9, because it's 9 plus the one you made. Okay, that looks better. This one, and this one. Let me drag it down. And there we go. Okay. Really, I'm kind of wasting my time because if nothing else, I was just going to mirror it anyway. But now, I'm going to grab all these. the most time you should spend on this is the idea is building these pieces. So top Z. I'm going to go back to my materials just so you can see once I get the right material on here how much better it'll look. And there you go. So we can make them bigger if you want. We can add more. The point is that we keep doing things like, and then adding these things in are great too. You know, this one's interesting because it's not at a slant, so and it's probably too low. So we'll pull it up, and then we'll do this. And maybe come up here like that. See, I could spend hours and days doing this. Scale it in like this. And drag it down like that. And what you could do with these pieces, actually more importantly, drag it over here like this. No, you know what? Let's not. That. I'll do another one down there just for the sakes. Really, I should have done them all at once because I'm probably going to modify this one, but I don't need to necessarily. It probably will work, even though it's on a slant. But, you know, you could just take these each, make sure you're on rotation and that these are individually rotating, and then bonk, go to the top, turn that off. There you go. They match a little bit better. Okay. So, you know, you do all this. You take these pieces. What we'll do is we'll grab all of this and then deselect all of that. And hopefully, yeah. We'll take these and move them over here. So we have 2 sets of them. And so on and so forth. And now I've got a good start for one. Maybe I'll pull this up, or maybe I could do other things to it too. I could put, you know, weird stuff on here. I could take some crazy stuff. I mean, have fun. Look at this stuff that you're making and go for it. Anyway, so you're going to have all of these set, all but the first 3, and those pieces are going to be like, you're going to have them set over here all nice and clean so you can use them, which means that we have to get rid of this one. Bye-bye. Like that, like this, maybe like this, however many of these you have. I have a few more down here that are a little bit more detailed. Some of these, I think, a lot of these things I rebuilt, so from other examples. But some of these may be the originals, and if they're wonky, it's probably because they're the originals. No offense to the artist, it's just what I'm teaching and what you're doing sometimes don't match what artists do for their workflow. Move this up here. Come on, let's just freeze this. Oh, you suck. My hands. Freeze. Okay. And so maybe duplicates. And I'll give you the exact number of what you have to get done for Monday. But at this point, the goal, let's see, that's a repeat. These 2 are repeats. So like this one. The goal is to have and then clean it up. A bunch of these set up in here, and I'll give you a number. So you've got all these, which is pretty much the same thing we were just doing. Let me undo that. Last one. This one's delete. So delete. This one's really complicated. Having a complicated one's not a bad thing, but look what it's made out of. It's made out of those pieces. Somebody else. This is definitely somebody else's, not mine rebuilt. You know, that's what you want to do. You want to try and get. Let's just delete it. This kind of stuff. like these. These are great. This is a little bit wide, fatter of one. This is just a wire. So just in case you don't know, let me show you something in here. One last thing. If I go to, take this, and go R and say connect, and just do one. And I have that thing selected, and I say create shape from selection, and we'll call this wire. And we get out of here, we now have a shape that's in that same position as the geometry. So if I pull this up, I can take a look at it and see, and some of it's kind of going up and down, and I really need to get rid of those edge faces, by the way. So what I'm going to do is go to the one and just get rid of this one at least, and then if I get, all you have to do for when you're doing this is delete, by the way. Delete is great for splines. So I'm going to take this, take these, I'm going to take that. Okay. So if you don't know, if you go up to rendering and you say enable in viewport, it makes it a thick wire. Let me turn that off so you can see it. And then you're going to take it and make it as thick as you want. You know, so if I wanted a wire in this channel, or two even, I would just take this and go, not the sub-object mode, but just drag it down. I don't mind that they clip, whatever you want to do. But the only thing you need to make sure you do is collapse them to editable polys so they show up as geometry. Okay? Just in case you didn't know that was there. You know, you could throw those beads on anything. You could take one of these and say, you know what, I really like one. Hello, one. I really want to show and pieces, and I want you to go out and think about cut it all the way across, but that's fine. You know, I want this kind of humped onto here, and then I will take this piece. And the other thing I want to say is you probably want to make it as simple as possible at this point, because remember, these are going to be tiled across several objects. So, but I put that, you know, right there. And now I've got a nice setup, okay? So the next thing you'll do after you do this is you'll take this, unfreeze all. Obviously they need to be leveled to each other. It kind of doesn't matter, but it drives me bonkers if you don't do it, so do it. It should nice to be clean and everything. So I'm going to go to the top here. I'm going to grab this plane. I'm going to export this plane to test low, save like that. And then I'm going to top Z, grab all of them, and export again and say test high melon. And it's not that big, so we'll see what it does. It was crashing pretty good yesterday, so looks like it's gonna make it. Maybe. That's fine. Whatever. We're gonna save this, because if we don't, it'll explode on our face. Okay. Then we're gonna come into here, and let's just do it from scratch again real quick. File, new. Select, and we'll select test low. Okay. Okay. Discard. And everything's having a hard time today. Let me close Photoshop maybe. There's our plane. And then we're going to come over here. We're going to say bake mesh maps. Oh, let me do one thing first. We want this to be higher. I'm going to go to 4096 on this one. Bake mesh maps. We're going to pick our object here. Estimate on high. We're going to take the ID off because we don't need it. And we're going to change this because it's pretty far off the top here. 0.1. Like that. Enter always makes that close. And then you're going to bake. And I'll speed this up. And there we go. There's our bake. All these pieces are working. This new thing that we just made in like, a few minutes is working. We can zoom in pretty good. The thing about, hold on a second. Oh, I thought I changed this. I didn't. The thing about Substance is you can, and they already cleaned it up, you can render things at higher than 4096, but you can't view them in the program. You can export things at 8K, but you can't view them in here at 8K. I mean, it's kind of a pain, but not a horrible pain. And yeah. All I'm looking for Tuesday is the built environment. So if you want to take it to see what it does, then do. I suggest you do. It looks cool. But I'm not going to require that at this point. It's just a suggestion. And I guess I have something. The other thing that you want to make sure you do is you want to make sure you export and clear this. When you do this, you want to make sure you get the angles right on the faces, because otherwise you get some softer stuff like, I think I cleaned this one up pretty good, but there. Honestly, I did a few little things. I did a dance. I'm talking about it. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not looking at examples. I should have looked at examples, and I'm gone. That's it. That's all we have, and I will talk to you all in class, and I'll make some more of these during class while we're sitting there.